which means you'd win Loki from me. And so my acquaintance with Marvel superheroes came from the game.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a favorite before you entered the universe?
Galactus.
Yeah. Sweet.
He's the top trump in the supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, bouncing off of that, I mean, you asked how much he got immersed in Marvel mythology. What about Norse mythology? How deep into that did you go? And how difficult is it to create a character that is based off of comics, which is based off of like a cultural myth?
Yeah. Well, in many ways I had to defer to Ken and to Marvel, and they already had a very clear take on the world they wanted to make. But I really sort of I borrowed from both. I mean, in the Marvel mythology, initial incarnations of Loki just have him kind of cackling on the rooftops. You know, he's very much a two-dimensional villain. And really it was only in the Norse myths, when I went back and read some of them, how sort of psychologically complex Loki seemed to be, and he's the god of lies, and he's the god of deception, and he really is that. Every religion it seems to me, has an agent of chaos. In Greek mythology, it's Dionysus. In Roman mythology, it's Bacchus, and in Norse myth, it's Loki. And he's, you know, back in the day when any sort of strange things were going down, people would think Loki's around. You know, so I took, and the fraternal stuff, the family rivalries, seemed very based and rooted in the Norse mythology too.
Did you get any reactions from Scandinavian cultures for taking on portraying this god? Did anybody like
Not
react?
specifically.
There's a
Jumped on the
statue
boat to
in Norway.
Norway, yeah, and said, "Hey guys, what did you think?" It's interesting. I mean, he is ultimately, those stories are quite similar to other stories in all mythologies of different religions. I mean, he's a kind of Lucifer in a way. There's an image of Loki. He's condemned eternally to the underworld, and there's a snake with a terrible poisonous venom that within his mouth is forced open, that drips its venom into his mouth for eternity. And I think the goddess of death, Hela, is trying to protect him from the venom with a bowl, but occasionally she has to empty the bowl, which means that the snake's venom goes into his mouth. But that seems to me to be a kind of like archetypal image from any mythology, really, about damnation, you know, that you get your comeuppance in the end.
Tom, can I ask, can you talk a little bit about the camaraderie on the set, and did anybody sort of feed into that, like, oh, you're the villain, so let's keep you at arm's length?
No, they didn't. It was, all the Marvel films have a code name to keep things secret, and Thor was called Frostbite or something, and the Avengers code name was Group Hug. And it was very, there was a huge camaraderie on set, partly because none of us could quite believe that we were there making that film for the beginning. And also we were shooting in Albuquerque and Cleveland, and of course nobody is from Albuquerque or Cleveland, so no one's got anywhere else to go. So, you know, you finish up at work and it's like, does anyone want to have a beer or something? And we had, you know, there were some fun houses. Chris Hemsworth had a good table tennis table. I hasten to add, Loki beats the crap out of both Thor and Captain America at table tennis.
Is that going to be the new tagline for the movie? Did you guys actually go out to like bars, like the group of you? I mean, I can't imagine.
We did,
that.
yeah. We actually did.
How did that go?
It was sort of surreal and really fun. I mean, there was one night where Chris Evans sent a round-robin text message saying, "Avengers, assemble." And we ended up at a bar in Albuquerque, and it was just the place where everyone goes to hang out on a Saturday night. And what was quite interesting was like your regular Albuquerque bar goer sort of looking around going, is that Jeremy Renner doing a lunge on the dance floor? I think it is. Or like, why is Chris Hemsworth and Scarlett Johansson in this bar dancing together? I don't know what's going on. But yeah, no, it was really fun.
Did Samuel Jackson go with the patch to the bar?
No, he didn't.
So he goes catch up.
He might have not been at that bar actually. I think he had a big round of golf the next morning.
Yeah.
What is Loki's relationship with Stellan Skarsgård's character in this movie? I know at the tail end of Thor, you guys have a little bit of thing, and now you actually get to share some scenes, I assume. So I'm kind of curious what you guys are up to in this movie.
This is where I can sense the red dot forming on my forehead, and the Marvel sniper in the corner of the roof over there. He's got his eye on me.
Or what working with Stellan?
Working with Stellan he's amazing. He's an amazing man, and someone I've long admired as an actor. I really do think he's an exceptional actor, and it's really capable of bringing a level of complexity and truth to roles and sort of performances which in another actor's hands would seem dry or slightly invisible. So I loved working with him. He's a real actor's actor. You know, he's been doing it for so long, and I love the fact that he's done so many different kinds of things. You know, he's worked with Lars von Trier countless times, but he's also in Thor, and he's also in Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and he's also in Angels and Demons, and he's in Finch's new Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He's such a rich, versatile actor, very powerful, and a kind, sweet man. And he plays the same character in Avengers, Eric Selvig, who is a scientist. And he's employed by S.H.I.E.L.D. After his encounters with S.H.I.E.L.D. in Thor to do some work for them.
And that is all you can say.
That's all I can say.
You haven't listened to the Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just curious, when they released the plot, they said that, there was an interstellar force and Loki was coming back. And I'm curious, how are the Avengers, the movie, going to avoid the pitfalls of what is seemingly a multiple villain adventure movie? Because a lot of movies struggle with that.
I wouldn't say it was really a multiple villain. I would say it was a solo villain. It really is one. It is Loki. Loki is the bad guy. That doesn't mean he doesn't commandeer help. But it's. I think everyone's aware that you've got 8 superheroes. If you had 8 supervillains as well, you've got a 2-hour picture. That's a lot of people to care about and a lot of people to get behind, and we don't have that time.
You are known for your theatrical background.
Yeah.
And there's sort of, I guess, an instant gratification. You know what the audience is experiencing. Yeah. I kind of feel like you have that now a little bit going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And now, I think your first time coming to New York Comic-Con. Yeah. What is that like? What are the differences? And which is more daunting? Which audience is more daunting?
I don't know. You just have to hope that they're happy every time. I mean, of course, when you're in a theatre and you go out on stage, one goes out in character. One's performing a very tightly rehearsed spectacle. So it's a completely different beast in a way. I do love performing on stage. I love the palpable reaction that you can feel from a live audience, because everyone's in the same room, The Comic-Con's different because really people are there because they love the material, they love the characters, they're not there to see a story. So it's like, I just feel like I'm along for the ride, I feel lucky to have people who are interested in what I'm doing. It's as simple as that.
I was going to go back to balancing the story. Obviously, you're not going to have 8 villains, but you still do have 8 superheroes.
Yeah.
They all have different arcs from different movies. So, how do they balance putting all those together quickly to the action?
Yeah, I think Joss's kind of great genius in the way he put the film together is it's like these guys don't find it easy to share the space. As in, it's not a easily functioning team. You've seen a bit in the trailer of Steve Rogers and Tony Stark sort of bickering about, take the suit away, what are you? And I think the part of that, a lot of the strength and the uniqueness of the film comes in the fact that there's a lot of square peg, round hole fitting going on between them.
Two more quick questions.
I'd like to, since we were talking about directors earlier, there's another director for a movie that you've got coming up I'd like to ask about.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about working with Mr. Spielberg on War Horse?
sure. Well, he's a genius. I mean, that's nothing new. To be honest, he's one of the kindest, most generous men I've ever met, and War Horse, I think, is going to be breathtaking.
Well, who are you? We haven't seen very much of it, so can you tell us a little about who you play?
I play Captain Nichols, and the film is the story of one horse as we track it through the entire course of the First World War, from 1914 to 1918. And really the horse is the still, silent, all-seeing eye for us, the audience. And really through the eyes of the horse, we come into contact with the breadth of humanity and the breadth of essentially the waste of and indifference towards human life. And so the horse, over the course of the film, comes into contact with different people, with young Devon farm boys, with the British cavalry, with German officers, with a French family. And I'm in that sort of second bracket. I play the English officer, Captain Nichols, who buys the horse from his Devon farm and takes him to war.
Last question.
A lot of times, actors, when they're approaching a role, it seems like they lock onto one line that really just, charges them for the character. So with Loki being the big bad in Avengers, can you give us like what that line was, that when you said it, it was just like, damn straight, I am Loki?
Oh, God. There's so many. Hang on, there's one in the first scene which I'm trying to remember now. I'm playing it back in my mind.
Is it, look, there's Magneto?
I don't know if I can tell you because it's a bit of a spoiler.
I think you can tell.
All the recorders are off.
Yeah.
Look, mine's off.
It's connected to the one in the trailer, which is you were made to be ruled, and that I think kind of smacks of an entitlement and an arrogance and a sort of a menace in a way that I think sums Loki up pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's more where that came from.